Hi, everyone. It's Teresa. Welcome to Life Warriors Podcast. We are so happy that you're here.
And I'm Mary.
And Mary's happy.
Oh,
So, we talk about so many things, Mary. I mean, I don't even know what to talk about today. What you got on your mind?
well, I was thinking about let's talk about where we came from, like
Hmm.
our childhood, um, because that's the foundation of what we're all built off of. And if it starts off kind of bumpy, then it's going to be a bumpy ride for a little while. But um, I came from a family of five, grew up in the 70s. Yeah, 70s. Best time to grow up, 70s and 80s, best. No cell phones, no laptops,
And
when the family,
remember when we were little and we had to come in like before it was dark? And it was so funny because our parents never knew where we were all day.
nope,
We would build forts. We would run to the abandoned house 2 miles over. We
miracle we survived.
Right, and you could always tell where everybody was because the bikes were in the front yard. Miracle
Mhm.
we survived. I drank out of a garden hose. Oh my God,
Oh
that's not
yeah.
something you're allowed to do anymore. I rode in the
I
back of
did
a
that the
pickup
other
truck.
day. My grandson was like, Lala, what are you doing? I said, I'm getting a drink of water. You can drink out of the hose. I'm like, what did you think we had before bottled water? I mean, of course you can. Just let all the warm water get out, and when it's cold, then you can drink it. But
Right. I mean,
yeah,
what did we have before filters and all that? You're right. I mean,
I don't
goodness.
know. I don't know. We didn't, I know we didn't have all this preservatives in our food. We ate, whole foods from the farmer's market, whatever. It wasn't a
We
bunch of
grew a lot of our
chemicals.
own stuff. I remember my mom giving me a bowl and saying, go get the salad. And I would get the lettuce, spring onions, tomatoes. We had all that. And I'd go back in. But, another thing too, she would always bake. She was always baking. We had peaches, we had black walnuts, and we had blackberry bushes down in the bottom of the
Oh, I
pasture.
love blackberries.
Me too. And she would give me a bucket and she'd say, go get me some blackberries and do not eat any. Well, I would come back and little did I know, blackberry juice all over my face. And she'd go, did you eat any? I go, no, ma'am. She'd go, okay. I mean, she knew I was going to eat because I can eat my weight in blackberries. Seriously, I love blackberries.
I was just in Washington State and we were on the trail and we were stopping to eat. By the time we got back from our walk, I was so full of blackberries. It was awesome. We did
Yeah.
that in Louisiana too, so they're kind of
Yeah.
everywhere, right?
Yeah, I love berries just in general. But don't you think that so many things that we did made us who we are, made us strong people, not just girls, but strong people?
Yes, I definitely do. And I had strong women in my family. My grandmother, my mom. Although my mom was very quiet, she still, they could chase you down with a wooden spoon. So just like my grandmother, my mom's mom is the grandmother I'm talking about, Grandma Jensen. She lived with us. So it's like I had two mothers. And then I had my older sister who was about 10 years older than me, and then three brothers. So it was five of
Wow.
us. Good Catholic family.
Wow.
And yeah,
Okay.
and we moved down here in 1968 from Connecticut. So I was originally born
Oh,
in Connecticut.
okay. I didn't
Um,
know that.
oh
Okay.
yeah, well we thought when we moved to Texas we were going to ride horses to school and do all kinds of Texas stuff, but
Sure, sure. You were going to
didn't
be a
work like that.
cowgirl.
Where are you from? You're from the Caribbean.
Yeah, I have a kind of an eclectic background. I have Native American, African American, and Irish, and Catholic
Oh,
as well. Um, all that was instilled in me, and I was very lucky to have strong women in my life. I had my great grandmother was in my life, which I
oh
am so
wow.
honored. She was 102 and she was still out in the heat digging in the garden and not with like weed whackers and stuff, but hoes
No,
and shovels in her hands.
manual
And
labor
yeah, I mean, that's why she lived to 102. She had one of those push mowers for the front lawn,
with the
that
blades. I was
you
just
with the
thinking that we had one
blades.
of those.
Yeah, she sure did. And, So many things that are missing in our society right now: values, integrity, respect, responsibility, honesty. I mean, all those things that were just automatically instilled in us are missing.
Well, what about the house stuff, like how to cook? I mean, everybody's so busy just Uber Eats or whatever that nobody knows how to
Mhm.
cook. My grandsons all, well, I haven't taught Daniel yet, but Jimmy and Vincent are very good cooks, and I've been
Good.
teaching them how to cook. And it's kind of like, my mom and my grandmother taught me. They taught me how to sew, and then my dad was like raised me to be, you'll never depend on another man.
Right.
So I knew how to drive a
Change a
stand.
tire, change the
I knew how to
oil.
change a tire. I made me change a tire and,
Yep.
use tools and build stuff and measure twice and cut once and all those
Right.
little screwdrivers for screwing, not for prying, kind
Yep.
of deal. Just every time I go to get that screwdriver to like open a paint can, I can hear my dad saying, "A screwdriver's for screwing, not for prying." And I'll go get the little paint can opener thing, whatever.
Right.
But all these things that were taught to me. And, plus I came from a family of scouts. So my dad was a scoutmaster. My brothers were all Eagle Scouts. I wanted to be a Boy Scout, but at that time they wouldn't. So I had to be a Girl Scout, but I still wore shorts under that stupid dress.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I was a
so,
Girl Scout too. I had badges all the way down my
oh
sash and
yeah.
all the way up the back.
I had a
Like,
bunch
talk about
too.
overachiever.
And then they taught you to be business people selling Girl Scout
You
cookies.
know what I did? You know what I did? Listen to this. So my mom was the accountant at a large construction company, and I would take my cookies and sit at the time clock on Fridays.
Oh, perfect.
It's like it's like
Strategic.
it's like now you see the Girl Scouts, they're over on their
Grocery.
phones, and the parents are like, "Do you want to buy some Girl Scout cookies?" I'm
Yeah.
like, "No, when your Girl Scouts come to me, then maybe." And they don't have on their I was so proud of my uniform. I was so proud of it. And they're not proud anymore, and they're not learning the life skills, like being
That's what I was
sociable,
looking for. Life skills.
being
Yes.
communicative. Hi, how are you today? And not just, you want to buy cookies? First off, hi, I'm so and so. I'm a Girl Scout with troop whatever.
Hmm.
And how many? And I taught this little girl this one day. She said, "Do you want to buy Girl Scout cookies?" I said, "That's a yes or no question, right?" She goes, "Yeah." No. Assume I'm going to already buy them and ask me, "How many would you like today? What's your favorite?"
Upsell.
Yes, yes. And I remember when I was selling them, they were 50 cents a box.
Oh
50
my God.
cents. And what are they now? Like,
450, five
oh no,
bucks
I think they're more than that. I
more.
think they're like
I didn't buy
any
them
girl
this year.
any Girl Scouts on here, let us know how much Girl Scout cookies are, because again, they were 50 cents when I was selling them. I remember every year I sold the most because I knew where to be. There's stories now of Girl Scouts that are sitting, and Boy Scouts, because they sell popcorn and peanuts, sitting in front of dispensaries.
Oh, that's great.
That's smart. And that's
Alrighty.
marketing. That's brilliant. But like you said, life skills. I remember I was working at I was a bartender, and I handed one of the young servers a broom, and I said, "Go mop, go sweep that up." He did not know how to use the broom with the dustpan. It's a broom.
Oh my goodness. See, Chuck was the one who always cleaned I mean, he was retired, so he cleaned the house. Did the grocery shopping, but he always had the boys with him, the two
Mhm.
grandsons with him. And he taught them to use the vacuum cleaner and so, they'll do that at this house, and
Right.
they'll take the trash out now. I mean, they're almost on autopilot now. Every now and then I have to be like, "Hey, come on, help me
And
out here." But for the
right.
most part, he taught him those life skills and I taught him to cook and stuff. And then he even taught him, when you shake a man's hand, you look him square in
Look
the
them in
eye
the
and
eye.
shake
Oh,
the.
oh my gosh. It's a Pixar movie and it's about the people living under the bridge. Oh my gosh, I can't remember the name. But anybody out there, if they know this, please let us know. But it's a Pixar movie. And the human was trying to teach one of the people from under the bridge, one of the kids, how to shake hands. He goes, whenever you meet someone, you want to make sure to look them in the eye and shake hands. He goes, okay, I got it. So he met somebody. He goes, hi, I'm Teresa. I cannot remember which movie it was. It
I
was a
don't know
Pixar.
what that was.
It was so cute. It was a Pixar movie and it was adorable because that just shows that you have to be very specific when you're teaching someone something.
That's true. That's true. I think I've told you this story before where I when Vincent was about 5 that I wanted to give him something he could carry through his life. And I told him always tell a woman they're beautiful.
Oh, uh-huh.
And then he told the waitress and she melted. And ever since then, he's Mr. Compliment. I mean, even just the other day, we were walking through the store and he tells this guy, hey, dude, I like your t-shirt. And then, hey, I like your glasses. And Jimmy's the same way. Jimmy does it for law enforcement and firefighters. Thank you for your service and military. Thank you for your service. Because there's a base just right down the street. And so you
Hmm.
always see them at the QT and he'll, thank you for your service. Well, a lot of times he'll do it walking away because he gets embarrassed. I'm like, no, stand there and
But
talk to
but
them. Look at them.
don't you feel when you do something like that, Mary, that it not only pulls that person up, but you too? I always feel better. Like I'll see somebody in the grocery. I make a point everywhere I go to do something like that. And I'll tell somebody, I'll say, you are rocking those shoes. I saw this chick the other day with the most god awful color green hair. I mean, it was green, but she was rocking it. And I told her that. And I swear she stood up straighter and got a big smile on her face. And she goes, thanks. And it doesn't cost anything. That's what we haven't taught our new
People are
generation.
too busy with their head in their phones.
Yep. Yep.
You didn't
I,
come over here to play on your phone all day long. Come talk to Lala, or let's go outside and do something, or
yep.
go somewhere, whatever. Just that
we had a
phone.
fam
Ugh.
we had a family event a couple weeks ago, and I was sitting in the back um corner. There's a big chair there, there's a chair over here, and I mean, it's kind of nice back there by the barbecue island, and every single person but me was on their phone.
Oh
Everybody.
my.
Two people on the couch, one person sitting next to me, one person sitting in front of me. My husband and somebody else were on their phones. And so I told my husband, I said, what we need to do is next time people come in the door, I'm going to have a basket. Put your stuff in the basket. He goes, no, that makes no sense. It won't work. I said, well, why are we having an event? Why are we having a get together if everybody's on their phone?
Right.
I don't understand. I'm having an issue with it.
Yeah, I'd have an
Go
issue with it
home.
too. I'd be telling everybody put your phone in the basket. They did that in my CPR class the other day. She
Yeah,
made everybody put the phones in the basket so that they would pay attention to the
right.
class. I was like,
Right.
okay,
Yeah,
I didn't have a problem with it. But when I was at the airport the other day, I looking around, everybody's got their head buried in the people in the restaurant, instead of talking to each other, they're both on their phones. I'm like,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
get out, get this,
Well,
you need
and
this.
it's almost like we can't speak to each other unless there's this in front of us. I mean, it's cool because like I'm in Sacramento, you're in
Yeah,
Dallas,
yeah,
and we're able to talk to each other, and it's very cool. I mean, you and I, we talk like, I don't know, 52 times a day, which is pretty awesome. But and I've spoken to somebody in Uganda today, the Philippines, Nigeria, and Mexico. We never would have had it without technology, but there has to be a line. There has to be, stop it, stop the madness.
yeah. I don't know. I remember growing up when, my dad would whistle for us, or when the street lamp came on, then it was time to
Yep.
go home. And then my dad would come home from work, and he was a aerospace engineer, and he would come
Oh,
in,
wow.
and I can to this day hear the change in his pocket in his Bic lighter, because he would put all that in the little tray that was there at the door with his
Right.
keys. And then he'd come in, and everybody have to get off the TV, turn the TV off. Then they turn the stereo on, listen to that boring elevator music or Lawrence Welk or whatever. And then
Oh
you
my gosh. Did
sit
they
at the
make you sit through
table
Lawrence? Did
and
they
have
make
a
you sit through Lawrence
conversation.
Welk?
Yes.
I
Oh,
know,
yeah,
me
that was
too.
Saturday night. It was
Yep.
Hee Haw, then Lawrence Welk, then the Carol Burnett show.
Yep. Yep.
And we only had like five channels, and then we were the channel changers. We had to go up and turn a channel, or
You had
my dad
five.
would
I
be
think
like,
we
"Can
had
you give me
three.
a beer or fix me a highball?" We were
Right.
their little bartenders.
I think we had three. We had ABC, CBS, and NBC. I don't think we had five. I think we had three. And do you remember? This is a lot of people cannot believe this is true. At night, the channels would go off and they'd play the Star Spangled Banner,
Single
the national
banner.
anthem. Yep. And it would go off. It would go off until 6 o'clock in the morning. We did
Or you
not
had
have.
that little target, or the screen would be fuzzy, or you have that little target looking thing that would come up on
Mhm.
the screen.
Yep.
And now we got 24/7, and you got all these channels, and there's still nothing to watch.
Too many channels. You know, honestly, if anything ever happens to my husband, I will not know how to watch TV because, sorry, he has so many different platforms. He's got Hulu and Stars and
Yeah.
Paramount and this and that and the other. And he'll start to watch something. He'll say, "Well, where's this at?" And I'm like, "I have no idea. I don't know where things are. I don't know how to get to things." Um, so it's crazy, but those things made us appreciate, I think, what we had.
Yeah,
I
we all
remember,
like Leave It to Beaver. We all sat around the table, and what did you do today, or what is something you felt like you accomplished today, or it was very positive environment.
hmm
That I was very blessed to have the family that I have. And my mom, she's 96, she's still around and sharp as a
right.
tack.
You're
So
so blessed to have her, seriously. Unfortunately, my great grandmother died at 102, my grandmother died at 87, and my mother died at 57.
uh,
So it yeah, it got worse and worse and worse, worser and worser, as they say. And
well, I told them when they replaced my hip, how long is this going to last me? 30 years. Well, that's good, because at that time my mom was like 87. So
right, you're like, I'm good.
okay, all right, I think that'll work. But yeah, that was a big deal. And then my grandmother, she had a tomato plants, a tomato garden in the backyard, and we had compost that we would
Mm,
turn. It was my dad made it out of railroad ties, and so I remember throwing eggs out there and coffee grounds and
coffee
this
grounds,
kind
yeah.
of stuff, and helping my grandmother. And that's where I got my green thumb from. So, I'm all into plants.
Yeah,
I
me
went to the
too.
San Diego Zoo one time, and I spent more pictures taking pictures of the plants than I did the animals. I felt
They
bad for
have
the animals.
they have beautiful plants there. They really do. Really
Succulents,
pretty.
yes.
Yes, yes. Yeah, it's funny when we first moved here, it was truly the crazy cat lady truly lived here. She had like 25 cats outside and 30 cats inside, and she had furniture outside, and it was the cat scratching posts. And we're like, oh no, no, so all that had to go.
Is that
And
where you
she,
became a cat person?
oh no, I've been an animal lover my entire life, my whole life. My mom instilled that in me. We had any kind of animal you could possibly imagine: horses, cows, pigs, chickens, bunnies, um, anything.
Iguanas.
We did have iguanas. Yeah, I had 26 iguanas. And after Hurricane Marilyn in St. Thomas, they were so hungry. I went to the grocery store, and the ends of the lettuce, I
Uh-huh.
had boxes of that, and they could see it. They can see that, what I was bringing, and they just came running to me, and it was sad because everything they would eat, their vegetation was
Their
gone. And
habitat was gone,
yeah, so I made sure to take care of them.
or it
And
died from all the salt water on it.
yeah, I miss my iguanas so much. That was one of my things I
Did you
truly
did you
love.
have a favored one? What was his name? You had to have one or two favorites. Did you have
I
names?
I had one and his name was Bernie. Yeah.
Bernie.
Bernie. And his body was like this long. He was OG. He seriously was OG. He was in charge of everybody. And let me tell you, if you think iguanas, first off, they can bite the living bejesus out of your finger. Um,
Really?
I I would hand them things and they're not they can see colors, but they can't really see very well. And I guess they thought my finger was part of the food. And they have razor sharp little teeth like little kittens, huh? And they also can whip you with their tail. And
Mhm.
I used to get whipped every now and then my legs. And um, yeah, it was cool. I missed that. I also had an octopus that lived
Ooh,
underneath our dock. And whenever I'd go,
tasty. I
it
love
was cool.
octopus.
Yeah, I do too. But I tell you, I went to eat sushi one time and my friend got the little baby octopus and I couldn't
Uh-huh.
even look at it. I couldn't look at it.
Oh, those are good. They have those at the buffet.
It upset me. It upset
Oh,
me,
I like the
you
little
know.
suction cups on the little tentacles, and when
Hmm.
it's so chewy. But we had four dogs growing up. They were all my sister found them, and every one of them was named Tammy. Tammy 1, Tammy 2, Tammy 3, Tammy 4. Don't ask me
That's
why.
that's cute. I
And I
like it.
asked my brothers the other day, "What? Why did we name all the dogs Tammy?" And nobody can remember why.
Hmm. Yeah, we always had dogs. We always had everything, and it.
I had a soft shell turtle that I found in the creek, and his name was Charlie for Charlie Waters. He was a Dallas Cowboy, one of my favorites.
Cowboys.
Cliff
Yep.
Harris and Dallas and Charlie Waters were my favorites, and so I named him Charlie. And then finally, my mom found out that I don't know. It's something about that you can get sick from them. There's something salmonella. You can get salmonella from turtles or whatever. Anyway, I let him back. I let him go back in the creek again.
Hmm.
And
So,
my brother Bob had a tarantula, a pet
oh, I had
tarantula.
a tarantula too. Oh my God, I love that thing. I would put my hand down in the cage and he would
Oh
crawl up and
no,
just sit
no,
right here. Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Hmm. Yeah. I loved them. I love all like I'm the type of person if you're anywhere and you go, "Oh my God, it's a spider." I'm like, excuse me," and here I am walking it out to freedom. That's me. I did that to a praying mantis, okay? Never again. Let me tell you, those little mofos, they're vicious. I
Really?
picked I picked him up like this. I mean, he had enough room. He was at the entrance to the grocery store,
Uh-huh.
okay? And I knew some idiot was going to step on him. So I'm like, come on, baby, come here. He bit me, like Drew Blood bit me.
Oh my God.
So I went over to the plant and I just went, there you go. You're on your own. I've done my job. Yeah, he bit me. And I
You
mean, I
remember
know he
the
was scared, whatever, but he was going to get stepped on. Somebody was going to step on him.
I didn't realize that they could be that vicious.
I didn't
Remember when
either.
you remember when they had those little containers, the glass or the plastic containers, and it had like a little flower inside of it, and the floor of it had a bunch of holes in it, like the screen on a window, and then you could put bugs in it, catch bugs. Well,
Mm-hmm.
my brother and I would go down the street, and there was these people had these honeysuckle bushes all around their house. And
Mm-hmm.
that's where all the bees were. And we try to get those big B-57 bees, the big, the, you hear when they fly by,
It
woo,
moves your hair. It
you
moves
can
your hair
hear
when their
them.
wings
The
go.
big bumblebees, I think they call them, but I don't know, but they were huge. But we catch those and all these other bees. And then we'd have that thing full of bees because you catch it like this. And then
Mm-hmm.
you'd shake it up and they would go, yeah, I don't know why we were even doing stuff like that, but to be even more demented, when we were at the lake, we'd catch grasshoppers and throw them in red ant beds.
Okay.
Sit
We
on the
would.
aluminum chair because they couldn't climb up the aluminum chairs. They couldn't climb
Oh,
up there, so you'd sit with your feet up on the aluminum chair and just throw whatever in the red ant
oh,
bed. And yeah,
okay.
that we were not, that was not. It was a great memory, but yeah, it's a good thing that neither of us grew up to be a serial killer.
I know, right? We used to collect in a jar lightning bugs.
Oh
And
yes.
nobody knows how to do that anymore or why we even did it. I don't even know. Do lightning bugs exist anywhere
Yes.
anymore?
Yes, they do. They
We don't
do.
have them out here. And I was saying something to
We have them
somebody.
here.
Yeah, we don't have them here in Northern California. We just don't. Um, we've got dragonflies, which I'm very excited about. Everybody
Yay.
knows that Mary and I love dragonflies. We feel they're very magical. And I've been talking to somebody on one of the platforms on social media, and she actually has a habitat. So I think I'm going to try my hand at doing a habitat out here. I don't know. It's going to take,
Interesting.
I know it's going to take a lot of research, but I want to do it.
They
So,
always come land on my kayak, so I always wonder who's visiting, when I
oh,
take my
nice.
kayak out, because
Right.
them and cardinals,
Hmm.
butterflies, they say too, are souls visiting. So
Yeah.
I
You know,
embrace that.
You always talk about Chuck. Everybody's heard pennies from heaven, but you told Chuck a dime. Today, something caused me pause. I found a nickel in the weirdest place in my house, the weirdest spot in my house. Not anywhere where anybody would be with change. First off, nobody carries change anymore. What is change? What are pennies? You know, um,
Well,
and I
pennies are
found a,
going bye-bye.
I know,
They
I
quit
know.
making pennies.
I found a nickel. So I was like, I need to tell Mary about this. But where we're from is our foundation. And as I said, I'm very blessed that I have I learned how to cook. I learned to celebrate. My mom would celebrate Groundhog's Day. Seriously. I don't know how, but it seemed like every week she found a different holiday. National Tree Day, Flag Day. We would celebrate
Oh,
everything. And there would always be something by our place setting that morning when we would get up and go to school or whatever. There'd always be something. And
oh.
she was just into celebrating. And that was so cool. I remember that.
So are you one of those Christmas people that have to decorate their house and their yard and everything else in between?
I love to decorate. 2 years ago, we had finally finished our house and I decorated every inch. We had lights outside. My husband got into it, which I was surprised. And
Oh,
yeah, it was great. I had a tree inside and everybody was like, "Oh, who did you pay to do this tree?" And I was like, "I did it." It was just something I love to do. I love the holidays.
Chuck
And
loved Christmas. He would buy and he would order in advance for my family and for us. Usually my family, it was either a wreath or um, and these are live, I mean, real
yeah.
wreath, so you could smell it. That's what I loved
Hmm.
about it. And then the tree would come in a box like this big around, and then it was shrink wrapped, and then you cut it, and it would just go boom and open up. And I
Yeah.
just loved the way the house smelled whenever he got that tree. And that was something that he always did every year. Send my brothers, my sister, or my mom, or my parent, or my mom, those wreaths, or it
Mm.
was a spray of some kind
I was
with
gonna
the,
say I used to send all the time, the long thing in the middle of the table
yeah,
with the candles.
yeah,
Yeah.
that they would do that. He would pick from all of that. So yeah,
Hmm.
that was a big deal. But I I'm more like, I like to decorate, but more of the small tree.
Mm. Mm.
Actually, my tree's in a box. All I have to do is pull it out and plug it in. But
Mhm.
I love Christmas lights. There's
I
so
love
many lights on this tree that you can't get any more lights on this tree. And not the typical color. They're blue and green and,
mhm.
those colors. So yeah, but I prefer the smaller tree because I'm usually the one that has to take it down and well, now I really am going to be the one that has to take it down. But we had that tree up this year. I still put the tree up um, before Christmas, and it was up till they discharged Chuck for that week that he was home, and we got to finally have Christmas. So that tree was shining that whole time.
I
Yeah.
remember that. Yeah, I remember that. But those things, those traditions, the
Christmas
whatever
cookies. Did you guys make
Chris.
Christmas cookies?
Oh my gosh, yes, that was
That's huge.
huge. That was huge. And we made like, I don't know, six or seven different kinds. I don't even
Us
know,
too. Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And my mom would make Christmas candy. She would make fudge. And it was just
Divinity, is it?
yes, yes.
Ah,
And it was like those things instilled in us. And like if I close my eyes right now, just like you said about the smell of the wreath, and I could smell that, I instantly am transported
take you
back
right back.
to, yep, yep.
That's so crazy how scents will do that, but sounds will also do that. Like when anytime I hear a prop airplane fly overhead, it instantly takes me back to 1968 on our patio. My dad made me a house out of a box that our refrigerator came in, and it even had the wooden pallet at the base
Oh,
of it.
uh-huh,
And
cool.
my mom made me peanut butter and jelly sandwich cut diagonally, and
Of
then
course, always
a,
diagonally.
a
If
cup of
anybody
milk.
out there's listening and they do it the other way, that's
They
okay.
do it
You
square.
can be different,
Yeah.
but it has to be on the diagonal for me.
On the diagonal, yep. And then I had a cup of milk. And it was hot because we were in Texas, right? So you know how milk will get that film when it sits out? And
Right.
that instantly, whenever I hear Prop Chop, it'll take me right back to that moment. I don't know what it is about that moment, but that was such a fond memory for me. Like I guess I was probably 4. We moved when I was 4 years old. So,
Wow. Wow. I remember, you just talked about scents. Those malted milk balls?
oh yeah.
Okay. Well, I would spend some summers, part of the summer, with my cousin Darlene. And every night we would take our bath, when the sun was going down, and we
Did you
would
use
meet
Mr.
up.
Bubble?
Of course, didn't everybody? Didn't
Mr. Bubble.
everybody?
Yeah.
And
My mom would
um,
do dishwashing soap just because it was cheaper.
oh yeah. Well, my mom would always replace what was, like my dad had the special shampoo, and she put the cheap stuff in the same bottle.
Breck.
Yeah. So who knows? Um, but I remember my Aunt Helen would give us like malted milk balls and whatever. I remember the malted milk balls, and we would sit there and we would sit on, those teeter totter things.
Uh-huh.
We would sit on that and rock and eat one and eat one. It would take us an hour to eat all of them. We had like six of that and six of something else or whatever. But I can close my eyes and I can smell, whenever I smell malted milk balls or even see the carton that they're in, I think of that moment because I was so happy. I don't.
Yeah.
Kids right now are so angry. I you know
Confused and even deciding if they're transgender or bisexual. What? And these aren't even teenagers. What the
right,
heck?
right. Yeah, I think I don't know what the answer is. I don't, but I do know one thing that needs to be done is just as a society, basic stuff needs to go back into our everyday life. Basic values, as I said, integrity, doing the right thing even when no one's watching. That's integrity. Being respectful of not only your people around you, your mom, your dad, your teachers, all that, but being respectful of yourself. A lot of people won't have self-respect or self-love. I think that's important. Honesty, oh my gosh, honesty's gone out the window. Look at all these scams that are out there, and it's horrible.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't even, when you meet somebody online, you don't even know if you're really talking to who you think you're talking. I mean, how many times have we watched Dr. Phil and these people are giving all
Yep.
this money to people they've never even talked to,
Right,
let alone
right.
seen?
Right.
that's your first red flag, but I
Right.
don't know. So, like the other day when I was visiting my friends, um, their daughter was on TikTok and I was listening to them and they were kind of making fun of her, and it was just a group of kids and um, yeah, so who knows what they're getting told or what they're watching unless you're paying attention or unless you have, I mean, you can try your best to control that, but I guarantee you they'll find a way because,
Right. Right.
those kids can, oh, hey, I can do that. Here, Lala, I can do that. And it's done. Like the TikTok
Hmm.
thing. He was like, oh,
Right.
Lala, I can edit that for you. And I was like, what? You can? Okay, I'm going to hire
Right.
you.
Right. Right. Which is scary, but also helpful in itself. But, you know, I don't know. The bullying of somebody who's different. I mean, and in another episode, we talk about being weird. And being weird is not what everybody thinks it is.
Normal is boring. Don't be
Normal's
weird.
boring. Be weird. Um, the actual definition means that you're an anomaly. You're special when you're weird. And the bullying is just, and then unfortunately these young people, they're taking their own life because they're just so unhappy. And it's
Or they didn't
it's
get enough likes, or they weren't getting enough views, or whatever. I'm going to be an influencer when I grow up. Okay, good luck with that.
I mean, the odds of getting in the NBA and you're 5'4" is higher than, becoming an influencer and truly making money. I don't understand that, and the reality shows
Work
truly aren't
ethic.
reality.
There's
Yes,
no
work
work ethic.
ethic.
And you can see that. I can see that. I've spent my career as an occupational health nurse working for companies on their on site. I'm the on-site medical. So when
Hmm.
anybody gets hurt or is sick or whatever, they go see Nurse Mary, right? But I can tell you that I can see the different age groups and they communicate differently. Like I had this girl helping me and I said, hey, what happened with so and so? Oh, well, I sent her an email and she hadn't responded yet. I said, just pick up the damn phone and call
Right,
her.
right.
I'm sitting around waiting for an answer when you could have just called them but they don't, they want to text, they want to email, they don't want to talk. I would prefer to talk to you face to face. And if you come
Hmm.
into my office, please take your sunglasses off because I want to see your eyes.
Yeah, yeah. I'm always on Nextdoor, which is an app if some people don't have it, and it's your community. And I'm
Hmm.
always going on there trying to find people that are looking to do little odd jobs, weeding or
Yeah.
whatever. And I had this young man, and he was, I want to say 17, I think 16 or 17. And he said, I said, well, and I put in my post exactly what I needed. I needed some things moved. I needed some true weeding. You're going to have to get on your knees and weed with your hands and
Pull the
whatever.
root.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. And he said, I'd love to do this. I want to help you, whatever. And of course, they're charging $25 an hour. But anyway, that's a whole nother thing. And he said, well, I'll bring my weed whacker. I'm like, oh, nope, no weed whacker. This is, you have to pull by hand. And we agreed that he was going to come here at, like, I wanted him early because of the sun. And he said he was going to be here at 9. Well, that means you're here knocking on my door at 5 up. That's what that means to me. But
Oh,
anyway,
Chuck used to say, if you're 10 minutes early, you're 10 minutes late.
yep, yep, it's true. That's how I was brought up. And so at 5 after, I text him, I said, are you coming? No answer. 10 after, I text him. He goes, yeah, I stopped at Walmart to grab a drink. Who stops at Walmart to grab a drink? You stop at 7-Eleven, or you stop at, whatever your little quick little places. You first off, just navigating parking in Walmart is
Yeah, that's why he was
so
late.
well, do you know what time? So finally at like 9:30, I said, never mind. I'll find someone else. He goes, no, I'm on my way. I said, too bad. I mean, seriously, we made an agreement at 9 o'clock, not 9:30, nine
Right.
o'clock. And so not a minute later, a car comes down. He gets dropped off, and leaves. And I go outside. I'm like, why are you here? He goes, well, somebody had to drop me off, so I'll just go ahead and do the job. I said, no, no, mm-mm. I'm not paying you. You're not doing the job. We said 9 o'clock. It's 9:35 now. And I know he thought I was a bitch. And I said, just to let you know, you need to keep your promises. If you agree to a certain time, show up at that time ready to work. I also, where are your gloves? I said, do you have gloves? You said, yes. Where are your gloves? Oh, I forgot them. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? So I said, this is going to be a hard lesson because your ass is going to sit there. Because your ass is going to sit there until your ride comes. And that's too bad. But I was just so I was
Discouraged.
so I was disappointed
Yeah.
in our young people of today, how they don't have that respect for my time. I said, you don't have respect for my time. I said, we agreed 9 to 12, 3 hours. I told you I had to leave at 12. I had a
Hmm.
meeting at 12. I can't stay till 12:30. So you're cutting yourself short. Do you
Yeah.
understand this?
Do you think you got through to him?
I don't think so. Cliff
Mm.
has a young man, and he keeps saying, well, he's a kid. He's a kid. That works for him, my husband. And I think he's in his late 20s. And Cliff always says, oh, well, he's a kid. That is not a kid. Okay.
No.
When I was 10, I had more respect for people's time, more
And
responsibility.
responsibility.
Responsibility. Yeah. I don't understand.
My dad put
I'm,
me to work at 13. He was like, you can
yeah,
go babysit. There's people all up and down the street. So he made me some fl little flyers because he could do it
flyers,
at work, like with a Xerox machine. Not even a Xerox machine. It was that,
the
like the one,
mimeograph.
yeah, mimeograph thing. So he made me some of those so I could pass them out to my neighbors. And I
Mhm.
had a couple of babysitting gigs, but heck, I only made 50 cents an hour.
But you just said mimeograph, and I can smell it was
That,
such a big
yeah, yeah,
deal.
it smelled
It
grape
was
or
such a big
something.
deal in school. It was a big deal to get picked
Freshly.
to do the mimeograph, the
Mimeograph. It was
menus for the week.
purple.
Yes, yes, that was
Oh my God.
huge.
That's
So
crazy.
I could smell it when you said that. I could smell it. It was crazy.
Mm-hmm, yep. And then shoot, when I was 16, I got a job and the minimum wage was $1.32. A
Yep,
dollar 32 an hour.
yep.
My
I
God.
remember. I remember. But we had respect for ourselves first. I don't see that with the kids right now. I don't
Oh no,
see
they look for a reason not to work. Like I was saying, where I worked, the younger ones were always the ones we had problems with because they were always late, they weren't
hmm
working, they weren't doing their job, they were complaining about everything. And then you have the 50-year-olds and up that get cut and they just put some duct tape on it and keep on working, and the
right,
other one's like, I
right,
have a hangnail, I can't come to work today. It's like,
right.
and I've always said, people who want to work, work. People
Yep.
who don't look for a reason not to. It really is that simple.
I'm going to call out a company because I'm not sponsored in any way by this company, but Chick-fil-A, they always, like when you say thank you to someone normally in the store, they go, no problem. And that just grates on me because, of course, it's no problem. And at Chick-fil-A, they say, my pleasure. And I love that.
Aw,
They always say, of course, my pleasure. I love that. That is so welcoming and
endearing.
engulfing. Yes, yes, I love it. So I never say you're welcome. I never say no problem. I always say, of course, my pleasure. And you can attest to that because I know
Yeah,
I've sent you a couple of texts and I
yeah,
always say, of
my
course, my
pleasure.
pleasure. Yeah. Because it just is, it's a nice, genuine, love-filled response. I just
When I was growing up, I got harped on so many times, mainly because I could be a back talker. So usually if I was getting in trouble for something, I was like, but, I obviously to me had a good reason for doing what I did, but
Right.
it didn't matter that it was right or wrong. But to this day, now I find myself telling my grandkids, don't say yeah, say yes. Or yes,
Yep.
ma'am would be nice. If you want something in the house, you say please. When I give it to you, you say thank you.
Yep.
And they're very good out in public. I mean, people are like, "Wow, your kids are, very polite." I'm like, "Thank you," but
Well, and isn't it crazy that that's an anomaly?
yeah,
That's different. I always make a point to tell kids, when they're respectful, when they're pleasant and communicative. I always make a point. I said, "Oh my gosh, please go home and tell your parents thank you,
good
please."
job, right? Good job.
What? Yeah,
Yeah, I don't like yeah. What did you say? Yes, ma'am.
yeah.
I don't
And I
really
just
like
say,
ma'am, but I'll take it, I
yeah,
earned it.
I'll take it. I'll take it as well. Goodness, I know we try to solve world peace sometimes, and I don't know if we've done a good job. This,
Well, it's just like we were saying, Teresa. We set this podcast up so that we could help one person. And if
right?
we can fix one child, we don't have to fix the world, but one and one is two, two plus two is three,
Mhm.
and it goes on. It goes on. And Vincent said the
And
other day, I said, what do you want to be when you grow up? He's 13. So what do you want to be? I don't know, animator, a voice actor, a dad. I said, really? You want to be a father? And he goes, yeah,
wow,
that'd be cool.
wow, that's unusual. You don't hear that anymore.
Yeah.
But I think that we need to empower the parents and the moms and dads and grandparents that are in the kids' lives, because you don't realize the power you have to instill all these values, to instill memories with
Yeah, it
to
can't be
them.
lazy parenting. You can't just pop a screen in front of them and expect, something different
Greatness.
from them. It,
Yeah,
it does take work
right.
and time but yeah, if we had a little bit more of that, yeah, I think the world would be a better place. We
Yeah,
can hope.
completely.
We can try one kid at a time,
Well, and
starting with us.
that's what we're trying to do here at Life Warriors is, make a community for all kinds of things, real people talking about real topics. And, I agree with you, Mary, the values and life skills sew on a button, teach them how to set a table.
Oh, they didn't even know how to do that. I mean, the girl at work didn't even know how to do that. I was like, well, bring it over here. I'll do it. I just so happens I have a sewing kit in my purse because I'm one
Right.
of those people that
I
have,
am
my
too. I
mom
have
was
one as,
that way.
yeah,
And so when I go down to a smaller purse, I'm always cussing. Oh, if I had this other purse, I'd have my eyeglass repair, the screws that go with it,
yeah,
the spray to clean your glasses with, band-aids, medicine, you name it. I
yeah.
got paper clips, what do you call safety pins, you name it. I had it all. I have it all in
Mhm.
there. Yeah.
What was the weirdest thing that your mom or grandma had in her purse?
A handkerchief.
Hmm.
A cloth
Okay.
handkerchief. Like my grandmother would walk around in a sweater, and she'd always have the handkerchief
Right here.
tucked in
Yes.
her sleeve.
Yeah.
I have one of her sweaters. I love that sweater.
Yeah. I have one of my grandmother's handkerchiefs. Yeah.
What
Still
about
in.
you?
My mother always, this is very weird. She always carried bag balm. And
Like
some of
what
our
you put on
listeners
a udder
might,
kind of deal?
yes, it's called bag
Oh,
balm. It's in a green can.
yeah, yeah.
And she always carried that in her
What did she
purse.
do with it? Put it on her lips?
You never know if somebody
It's like
needs bag
Windex.
balm.
You spray some Windex
you
on it.
you can use it
Got a
on
sore.
anything. I had a really bad burn on my arm once and used bag balm on it, and we had the same can in the barn for years.
Oh
but she
yeah.
always had a can in her purse. It was weird, we'd be out at a family gathering and somebody would, fall and get a road rash and she'd go, "Come here." She'd pull out the bag, Mom, and there you go. And within days, it seemed it was gone. And now they make them a little squirty, for your lips and
Yeah,
for
like the
everything.
Carmex, they put in a little
Yeah,
tube.
they have little cans that are like this big
Yeah,
now.
they're
And
cute.
yeah, yeah. So
My mom always carried around dentine gum. Remember dentine gum?
I do, I
Or
do.
lifesavers, like the
Lifesavers,
butter rum
butter rum.
ones.
Ah, butter rum. Yes. Remember the books at Christmas?
Yes. I
That was
never
a
could suck
big,
those
big
suckers
deal.
down. It was like,
I,
how many licks does it take to get the center of the
of a
lollipop?
Tootsie
One,
Pop,
two,
a Tootsie
Tootsie
Pop.
Pop.
Yeah, yeah. I would always bite them too. But
Or the
wow.
Brock's candies. Remember the little butterscotch Brock's
I
candies?
do. I do. Yeah, it's true. Wow. Goodness gracious. Well, Mary, it's been so great talking to you. Everybody out there, stay strong, stay hopeful, and remember, together we're stronger, unstoppable always. I'm Teresa.
Abs-
Share this with anybody you think would get a good laugh with us. And Mary?
And yep, and I'm married. And our warrior challenge for today. We almost forgot. So we wanted you
Almost.
to think about a negative, not necessarily a negative thing, but a setback or something that you had as a child that's now been a blessing. So, I always try to say, no matter what bad shit happens in your life, if you can find a way to embrace it and realize that because of that, something good is going to happen, that
Right.
your life will be so much better. So, until next time, you, be kind, and be happy. I'm Mary McMichael, out.
Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.